Welcome to the live LED show and tell. Ooh, spooky. I should probably start the video camera, shouldn't I? We got to make sure that we're all right. So yes, we are going. Hi, Mike Murray. So yes, we are going to show. Not we. I'm a single person. What we do with LED lights. It will not all be in the dark, so just letting you know. It's just for dramatic effect. So I will turn on my lights now, and then we will continue. Ta-da! Yeah, and it's Halloween time, so you have to have your Halloween cup. And of course, it has Mountain Dew in it. Ooh, Mountain Dew, yeah. So, as you can see here, I have some awesome candles that were made from Stephen Stockinger from the Realm of Fear. I have kept these for quite a while. I bought them from him years ago. And we've used them in every haunt that we've had, and we're going to use them again this year as well. And before I bought, well, in the process of when I bought his, I also made my own. Kind of dwarfs them, doesn't it? So we'll move these out of the way real fast, and so as you can tell, they're much taller. These were for my hearse, and they I picked one that all of them work. So those all work like that, and let's see if it. So yeah, let's turn off the light and you can see what that looks like. Oh, that looks good. What? No Taco Bell? Shush it, Patrick. Yeah, no, I had Taco Bell earlier today. So yes, but that's what they look like. Obviously, with the effect of the video camera, it makes them look even more glowy. You know what? Let's go a little bit like that. There we go. I have a dimmer on my lights above me. So that is just a dramatic effect. Anyways, so we'll put those to the side. We'll talk about those in a little bit. I've been asked over the years what kind of LEDs I use, and how I hook them up and all that kind of thing. And so I figured it would be perfect to do a little video. So I'm also recording this as well, for a how-to, I guess, sort of like a how-to, but more of just an introduction to LEDs, sort of. I'm not going to go into wiring and voltage and all that kind of crap. I will a little bit. The main thing that we buy is what is called an AC adapter. And you have the general one that people would, that we buy as haunters is the 12 volt 1 amp. 1 amp will power 50 of these little LEDs, these little 1 millimeter LEDs. So if you figure that's 1 amp, 50 of these. When I did my facade a bunch of years ago, what I did was I created a power box, which I gave to a friend, and I'm going to be rebuilding a new one on my own. And it's going to have similar, I had it already and then I dropped it. Yes. So it'll have a power box, GFI, yeah, GFI. But it also on the side here, it's going to have what is called a jackboard. Now, what the jackboard will do is I'll be able to take these little RCA plugs like this, like you see on the back of stereos. Before HDMIs, you had stereos, and you had these stereo cables. So you can get these. You can't get any of this at Radio Shack anymore. Obviously, Radio Shack was the place that sold these, and it was one of the coolest things. They had one. I have another one that has 8 of these. It's a really cool block. But before Radio Shack went out of business, I bought a couple of these, so I've got like one left, I think, besides this one. But basically, all you do is you unscrew this. I'm gonna show my other camera this. So it's got a connector inside, and you wire that up. one of them is positive, one of them is negative. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail of, yeah, so you don't need to use, that's the cool thing about this is your positive and your negative. So you just need one of these, not like where speakers or for your audio on your speaker system, you had to have both. This one is your positive and negative, and then you just go right in to your jack board like that. Jack board. So you can find these. They're RCA jack boards. I'm pretty sure they're on eBay and stuff like that still. And I've got several different types of, this one has a little bit smaller end, and it still unscrews, and you've got the same insides. So I'm actually going to turn on that light a little more. What you do to make this, and I will post an instructable of how I do sort of an instructable, but computer power supply. You're going to cut off the majority of these, and you're probably just going to use one of these ones, one of the yellow ones that comes off. You're probably going to cut off all these, or you can just leave them there and tuck them into a box. But this will allow you to have some 5 volts and some 12 volts. Mainly you want the 12 volts, and then the power coming into this is what you splice off and tie to these. So now you have 110 and 12 volt in the same power box. And I wire mine up to a switch, to a regular light switch, and I can go out in front of my door and flip on the switch and flip off the switch, and the entire haunt goes off, the entire haunt goes on. So that is one of the easiest things that I've ever done with my haunt. I did it with the facade a couple years ago, the cabin facade, and it I literally just walked out my front door and turned on every light in the haunt, the 110 stuff and the 12 volt, and it was super awesome. So that is, but there are other ways to power up the LEDs if you don't want to do the whole RCA jackboard thing. These are not easy to find, so these wall outlets are super easy to find. You can get them from China, so you can get them like in March and April and get like 20 of them and wait till June for them to get to you, and then you'll be fine. Don't wait until September to buy anything from China, period. Any of this stuff, some of it can come from China, some of it can come from the US. Obviously, the China stuff is going to be cheaper, but it's going to take longer, so plan accordingly. So I would recommend that if you're going to do, like on the back of my Monster Mud figures, I am going to have a 110, one of these, one of these adapters on each one, because they're going to plug in separately, and they're going to plug in across from each other. So they're not going to be close enough that running one outlet together would be feasible. So you can plan that way. The other way that I do my actual graveyard is with what I call, I'm going to move this stuff out of the way here. I don't know where that came from. Is what I call a trunk wire. Look at this bad boy. This is 250 feet of imported twinkling Christmas. Oh, no, wrong movie. This is, let's see, what gauge is it? Because I just bought what I bought 2 years ago. This is 14 gauge speaker wire. I call this amplifier wire because if you're hooking up speakers, this is a lot of wire for speakers, but it is speaker wire. You can get it on eBay. I got it for $24. So basically, what is that? 10 cents a foot or something like that? I don't know. Because 250 feet, 25 bucks. Yeah, sure, 10 cents a foot. This will go throughout the entire grass, and the reason I buy it does come in different colors, but this is the most common color that it comes in, this blue and black, which is super awesome for haunts and graveyards, because this hides in your grass super well. You won't even see it. I mean, you'll trip over it a couple times too. Whereas other speaker wire, I have some white stuff. You've got this the silver and gold stuff with the coating on it. You're going to see that in the haunt, especially if you have any other outside lighting like a street light. You're going to see that. Where this, you're going to have this running through the main part of your haunt. It's also heavier duty, so it will not, you don't have to worry about the water and stuff like that. But it's also, if something does get stuck on, you do kick it or whatever, it's not going to break the wire. And it also depends on how you connect your wires together, which obviously some of us just use black electrical tape. I am one of those people, but you are supposed to use butt connectors or the little let's see. I've got several different kinds. I don't even think I have the receptacles for those. But of course, you have your super awesome these ones. The other ones that I've used before, and these work really well too, is these splice connectors. They are called. I thought I had the other ones. Nope, I don't know. I don't know what they're called, but they fit into the other side that would then the female end, and then they create a pretty good seal on there too. That's not waterproof. Neither are these. What you need to do to make these waterproof is to put these on there and then put the heat shrink tubing over that, and obviously extend it out much farther than the butt connector. I said butt, but yeah, so I just said butt again. So I go through the yard and I wind this through the graveyard. What I do is I put this behind the tombstones. And what that does is obviously, again, hides the majority of the cord, because each tombstone width is hiding that amount of cord. But then underneath the tombstone is where you branch off and you bring out your actual gravestone lighting, which I will show you here in a minute. So you use this smaller gauge stuff to go through. I think this is 22, maybe. And just regular speaker wire you can buy at Walmart and all that kind of stuff. The regular, just normal speaker wire. You branch off of this, so you break these apart and you split them so that you have access to the wires, and then you positive, negative. For this, make the black the negative, make your blue the positive. Super simple then. And just remember that throughout the entire run. And then just splice these on there. They make connectors for that as well. And then you run your line out from here to your graveyard marker. And what I do is I take, these are really easy to get at. They actually come like this. They already cut like this from Home Depot. If you get the yard stakes, they're over in the fencing area, I believe. But you can also make it super cheap. And there's an area in the back of Home Depot's called the cull lumber area, CULL. It's usually in some sort of a rack back by the big band saws and stuff like that, where they cut the pieces of wood for you for custom sizes, and everything's marked in purple. And it's because this piece would be bent, and this actually piece is kind of bent a little bit, but you'll get a 1x2, a full 8-foot stick for about 70 cents, where they're like $1.50, something like that. Actually, you'll get them even less than that. So get that, and then basically cut a bunch of these, and then just take your saw, your chop saw, and chop. Yes, chop. Do that, and then you have a stake to put in your ground. So what I do is, we'll get this huge thing of, because I have a new graveyard this year, so I had to buy new wiring, because my other wiring was adapted for the facade going to each window, so it has little branches going off of each window. And I was going to pull it out, but it's a bundled mess. So what I do is I take this, and then I use these, which these are called LED modules. They're also called 50/50 modules. They are completely waterproof. They have a coating over everything, so they cannot. I had them out all year, and they don't get wet, or they don't short out if they get wet. I use one of these. This just happens to be red. I do have a whole thing of warm white is what I normally get, but for this demonstration, I will show you that I normally get. I did not bring my knife. Anyways, so what I do is I attach these to this. It does come with 3M on the back, or their version of 3M. It is pretty sticky, but it's not going to stick on wood that well. So I still expose the stickiness. I still stick it on there. Then I know where it is, and I find some little screws and run a screw into each one of these. Now you have your haunt lighting on a stick. So then you take that, you pop it in there, and this actually will illuminate the stone very well, but it also will fade off the edge. There's no defined edge like with some LEDs. Like if you put them in a housing, I used to make LEDs out of PVC pipe, and I would put the PVC, sort of like this, how you'd put the PVC inside the light inside the PVC. Well, you're going to have an edge where that light, obviously depending on how deep you put your light. If you put it down here deeper, you're going to have a light that's going to come out, but you're going to have a defined edge, and that's not going to work. because you don't want an edge. You want it to look as natural as possible. So these LED 50/50 modules that are for like signs and stuff like that, they come in a strip like this. Boom. And you're going to clip each one because you're going to have a bunch of, so now this will give me 20 lights. I did buy 2 of them because my goal is to have 40 stones by next year. I will have 20 this year, 20 for next year. So I will have enough lighting for 2 years. So they come like this. You cut along the back here to make sure you get 3M on each one, and then clip one of these right in the middle so you have enough lead on both sides. And let's see what these look like, by the way. Also, I'll show you these little connectors here in a minute too. So this is the red. It's red. Red. I also have green. I wonder why. But this is what the white looks like. Now, because it is a big strip of them. Holy crap! Oh, what did I do? Oh, one of the connections came out. Anyways, so I did not make my connection good in there. So this is, it doesn't look, that is so cool what it does. Anyways, this is what warm white looks like when it's together with 20. When you pull it apart, it is not that bright. It just so happens to be bright because they're all together. I will put a link to all of these different lights on the video down below and on my Facebook live feed that I'm doing right now as well, but I will put that on my Facebook page as well, and the Scare Hollow page, so that you can have links to where I buy all these things. So then you don't have to buy it from that specific seller on eBay or whatever website I show you, but it'll at least give you a description and what to look for in the future. So to recap so far, you need a power supply. You need your trunk wire. The reason, I forgot to say why I buy this trunk wire. I found that the longer, and this is back to electrical talk, the longer your run of regular speaker wire like this is, you will diminish your voltage as you go down the line. So I noticed that I had like 10 windows in my facade, and I ran a huge run of this to the other side of the facade and plugged it in at the opposite side. Well, the last like 5 windows didn't light, none of the LEDs, and they were all these little ones. I only had like 15 LEDs on that run, so I was like, it's not at my 50 LEDs yet, so I have plenty more amps to go through, but the current was not getting to the end. So then I did a little bit of research. You increase the gauge, decrease the gauge, but make the wire thicker, and the whole entire run lit up the exact same way as the first bulb. So the first was exactly like the last, and so that allowed me to basically create as long of a run as I wanted of lights, knowing the electricity would get to the end of the run. So if you're doing little close, stuff, you're doing a couple tombstones, or you're doing a scene or something like that, and you want to just plug it in straight to this thing and go straight to this speaker wire, you can, because it'll just do, where's my run? It'll just do just like this. I mean, that's as bright as it's intended to be. And you can make this probably 15, 20 feet, and it'll be just fine. So, and then you get the 50/50 modules, LED modules. Get your stick, attach the module to the stick, and you have your tombstone stake light. You can put these on each individual one. If you put your graveyard the exact same way every year, like stones go pretty much in the same spot, you can lay out your cord and be done the next year. Just boom, done. Obviously, you have to figure out what gen you start at. So maybe put first, or maybe mark the tombstone that this goes to, but also write this will be your first tombstone, so then you know where you started, and then you know that this is your first one, so then as you go down the row you can untangle the web using that guide. So the other types of things that I use, depending on the application, I'm going to be making 2 mud figures, and they needed smaller LEDs. These are also good for like flickering into like windows, for candles, They're perfect for candles. They do come in flickering. They come in flickering, flashing, and regular. And they come in plenty of different colors. Obviously, for candles, you would want flickering amber. If they don't have that, then flickering warm white will work as well. The amber, you could definitely tell a difference between, and different manufacturers will do their amber a little differently. The ones in the taller candles were a little orange, more orange than the ones in the smaller Stockinger candles. But these are all over eBay. They come in hundreds. You can get them in tens. You can get them in hundreds or not. One of the best places that I buy them from via eBay is Lighthouse LEDs. They're out of Seattle, Washington. They come pre-wired. And the cool thing about the pre-wired is, oh, look, I'm done. I didn't have to do any wiring. And I suck at this little tiny wiring like this. I would screw this up more times than you can imagine. I know there are several of you out there who do make your own LEDs, and more power to you. I don't have that kind of time, and I'm never going to want to have that kind of time. So I buy pre-wired because out of 100, you're going to get 95 that are good. You'll get 5 to 10 that could possibly be bad, and that's just the luck of the draw getting 100 of them. They do come in several different sizes. The UV is hit and miss because you have what some people believe UV is purple. And it is not. UV is purple, but it's not purple LED. Purple LED will not do the effect of UV. So it's really hit and miss on what you can get for those. The one light that I wanted to show, I do have it. I did not prepare my garage for me doing a video this early, but I forgot that I do have these LEDs that I got from my backyard. So I'll show those in a minute. So if you're going to do something small with, and you need a bunch of LEDs like this, these, like I said, they're great for candles, but they're great for all different types of things that you would need an LED for. They also come in this bigger size as well. I made a couple of signs. I made one for my Scare Hollow sign, and I used red and white of these so I can alternate by flipping a switch on the bottom of the sign, so I could change, and I had a white one next to the red one, and so I could change what my sign looked like just by flicking the switch. These do provide a lot more light than these, and I will show you here in a minute. I'll turn off the lights as well. I probably should actually plug in both so then I can show them at the same time. Look at me. I'm so cool. I don't know if anybody's asking me questions on the live thing. I should go check and see. Oh, there's all these people. RCA boards. Hey, thanks. What Troy isn't telling you is that originally he used the clapper to turn the haunt off. Yes, I did. Oh, Christmas boy. Hey, I like Christmas. I like Halloween. Halloween takes me a lot longer. It's more rewarding in the end than Christmas to me. Christmas is fun for me because I've done it since I was a little kid, and I've always enjoyed lighting. So obviously Halloween lighting is naturally fun for me as well. Do they make abnormal speaker wire? No, they don't. Especially Preparation H. So what we will do, we'll plug in both of these so we can get two different lights going. So you have your two different types of LEDs. Let's plug in this one. Ooh. Oh, that one is a flickering. Cool. I had it out. And this is the red. So I will turn off the light. That thing's still recording up there. Okay, we're still recording. All right. So you can tell there is a significant difference. Now, granted, this is red versus the amber, but the light does go a lot farther as well. If you put them side by side, you can tell how the red goes much farther. It's a bigger light, So these are great for if you wanted to put, put these in a piece of PVC to make a spotlight. You could do that, and that would be cool. If you need more light out of an LED, but you still want to use these little 12-volt guys, then that would definitely be the way to go. I'm not 100% certain on the voltage or the amps that are needed for these. I would say, just to be safe, let's do 25, because they're like twice the size of these. So if you can get 50 of these, you can get 25 of these on the same 1 amp power supply. What I would do is, if you really want to play with it, put 25 in there and put another one, and then put another one, and then put another one, and see when it stops lighting them up. Obviously, don't put them all in the same exact thing. These are kind of cool. They came out a couple of years ago. They are, I wouldn't even begin to know what they're called. I need to find out what they're called, but I will put that on the video and on the live and on the on my links. But and somebody may put them up here in a minute. What they're called. Amber gets around. Yes, she does. So these are one of the coolest things that they've created. Whoever did it, genius, of course. I didn't do it, so of course I feel like I got gypped. It comes with a positive and negative, and it's marked positive and negative. Positive and negative. You can't see that because it's black, but it's oh, there you go, a little bit. So they have little screws in here, and the coolest thing is not product placement and not paid for, but your Fright Props screwdriver fits perfectly into these holes. So you just unscrew it. I know, the opposite of what most of us want to be doing at this time of night. So you unscrew it, put the LED leads, positive to positive, negative to negative, and boom, screw it back in. You now have a receptacle that will light up your lights. So these, you can do a lot of things with these. Like I said, all the different types of things you could use for LEDs for these things. The candles is probably the coolest thing that you can do with these. As you can tell, this thing's still flickering. It'll flicker for a very long time. You could put several of these into a lantern. Did I do this one? No, I haven't done this one yet. But this one right here, I'm going to convert it. I believe I probably just broke it, probably. Oh, okay. So well, that's dumb. There it goes. Oh, it's got screws, but inside there is actually a bunch of LEDs. And what you can do is it has a little board, and you can probably see the board in there. You just basically just take all that out, take that board out. What I did was I actually, you have your wiring still in here, which you can use if you want to use the batteries. I ended up taking all this apart and wiring one up to one of the power supplies. And I basically rewired this whole thing. I actually drilled, popped out the LEDs and drilled in the flickering ones. Mine didn't have this cool little dome in there, so I actually might play with that and see if it actually, I'm going to try to leave the dome in there when I do this. But yeah, you can convert these cool ones. These are at Big Lots a lot of times. And different, different like Home Goods, I'm sure has some and things like that. They're around throughout the year. But I mean, this one's already aged. But yeah, you can convert this and then have like your mud figure. You can have him holding this. And then what you do is, because you have the LED run out of here, you have your speaker wire come out of the bottom of this. So you don't have to use any batteries, because batteries are stupid. Just drill your hole in there or pop this whole thing out, whatever you want to do, to get to the wiring, because you don't need any of this. You just need, but you can use it as a housing basically. So you can drill a hole through the bottom of that, take your speaker wire out of there, route it through his arm and back out and down. So now you have wiring to your Monster Mud lantern guy, So those are some things you can do with the LEDs. I'm not going to tell you what to do with them, because you have your own ideas of what you're going to do with them. The other thing that I bought a couple years ago to do a floodlight on my facade. I did not like what my I didn't like what floodlights were giving me, the options they were giving me. And so I decided to go and get, this is all kind of messed up a little bit here. I decided to do some research and I also talked with Mr. Tim Thompson, who told me about these aluminum waterproof plasma LEDs. Now, these are one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. I will put a link up to these. They come out of Vegas, so they're not very far away from anybody, really. And it's probably, to me, it's the coolest thing that's ever come out of Vegas because I don't like to gamble. I like to keep my money in my pocket. And so this is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen come out of Vegas. It is completely waterproof. It does not have any, I put the Velcro on the back because these used to be on my patio at the old house. But as you can tell, I use more trunk wire. I have 2 of them here, actually. These actually provided my entire deck lighting, my patio lighting. It was like a 15 foot by 15 foot. I had 2 of these on there, and let's see if they still work. Oh, they do. Oh, see, that's a bad connection on this. They came as Europe plug. There we go. So as you can tell, they're actually 2 different lights. Let me turn off the light here. You can tell one's white and one is off-white. I can't turn one of them off because I go like that. So these on the listing, and I will show you the listing on the thing, like I've said for the other things there, that you want the tall, wide beam. And I will link to that, and I will put down tall, wide beam. What that does is they have different beams. So if you want a short, narrow beam, so you want something that's going to focus right on something, they've created the plasma LED to be more focused on a direct item. So you can get different ones for different effects, but for floodlights in the outside, of course, they have the 2 little holes to put screws through. This creates no edge whatsoever. It completely fades off like normal light would fade off, and it provided such a great natural light to the facade that you couldn't even tell I had lit it up. It just looked natural. And that to me was huge because I didn't want it to be bright, but I wanted you to be able to see the detail from the street. And so, but I didn't want to put a bunch of 110 lights all over the place or have to change out bulbs or anything like that. I didn't want to buy those ones, those metal housing ones that you can change the colors with the remotes, because a lot of those, unless you get white, they mix the colors to get white, and so you get kind of a purplish white. And that's obviously not what I want. I wanted a warm white on the facade to make it look like just natural light from the moon or the street or whatever. And these I found were the best that I could find. And they're like $7. I think they're $7. They made me 5. I don't quote me on that yet. But these are. Every time I do my haunt and I get one of these out, I thank Tim Thompson. Because he told me about him in the haunt chat that we have every couple of days years ago, and I was like, I don't want to tell anybody about them until I get a bunch. So I have a bunch of these, but you can get them too now. I will let other people have them. But these are just fantastic for flooding a large area. But with no edges to the light, so it just fades off, and that to me is huge for LEDs and this type of housing. And of course, it's reflective because it's aluminum, but aluminum. So I think we might be done. I think we might be done with this. Let's see. There's 9 of you watching. Anybody have any questions? Little kid. Oh, needing a magnifying glass to see the positive and ground markings. Yeah, you do. Have you thought about using the same plugs in RCA style? Then you can buy all the RCA cords at thrift stores. Yes, yeah, you could. You could definitely do the RCA, cables that way. Really, wiring is, all these different types of wiring is all just conduit. It's not, obviously you saw how I went from this gauge wiring to this gauge wiring, and it lit up just fine. So, I mean, this is actually 3 different gauges of wire to get to these lights. It's a conduit. Obviously, the thicker the wire, the longer the electricity will go. So you can use speaker wire, you can use 12-volt trailer wiring, you can use RCA wiring, you can use the RCA plugs, things like that. I don't know if the plugs. I think I know what you're getting at. That the plugs. I always forget where I put them. Let's see if they fit. So yeah, so these you have to use with the barrel, the barrel ones for the power supplies. But yeah, if you were going to use the jack board for everything, you could do this. I mean, and then you run your lights, and then this would be like, so this run right here would go to your graveyard, and this one would go to a prop, and this one would go to a spotlight in the yard, things like that, so that you could run different runs. What I did one year, the year for the facade, was I had a run that went to the house or the facade, and one that went to the graveyard, and so I knew which, I marked them and everything. And then I knew if I had a problem with one, I knew that they were all on one giant run, which would be, tough to troubleshoot if I had to. So the cost on what, Mike? On the 2.5 millimeter? They're a little bit. These are a little bit more expensive than the other ones, but it depends on where you get them from China. You can get so many different prices on these things on eBay and stuff like that. But I know that these were either 5 or 7. The LED modules are, I believe I got these for, I just bought them. They were $8. $8 for, yeah, I think they were $8 for the 40 of them. Yeah, I can't even remember what I paid for them. I should go look, because that's a big deal. Let's see here. Of course, I go to click on my Gmail to see, and it's not in there. Come on, it's got load. Let's see, delivered. Sorry, so $12.87 was for 40 of these LED modules. So yeah, so it was like $6 or $7 for the 20. They come in 20s, 40s, 80s, 100s. And like I said, yeah, these are like 5 or 8. I will double check on these. And these you can get for so many different prices on so many different websites. You can go to AliExpress. You can go to banggood.com. You can go to eBay. You can go to Lighthouse. But Lighthouse LEDs, the cool thing is they're in Seattle, so you get them from there. But they actually are a little bit cheaper than they are on their actual website. So that still means that a local or a U.S. company still makes money. And obviously they just go a different pricing to be on eBay to be competitive, really. So I will put a link up to their eBay page, so you can go straight there and see what they have as well. And these, I will find out how much these are and what the name of these are. It just eludes me right now of what they're called. I've got bags of them. I wonder if this says CESUSA.com. Nope, but I got bags of them. I did find. The one other thing. Did I bring it out? I thought I brought it out. I'm looking for it. Is one of these? Here we go. So this is my last bit of advice. This would be a pigtail. So you get these little pigtails, and they obviously go into this, and now you've got wiring. So you can go right to your 12 volt, you know, anything 12 volt that you would need, just go straight, you can go straight to it. So if I wanted to, you know, you could just run your speaker wire from whatever light you're doing or whatever you're, you know, you can run it from one of these straight to this right here, and boom, you have your power and you're ready to go. I built a just last night. I built a hot wire foam cutter. I don't even know what I'm looking at because my screen's off, but I put a pigtail on the end of it. See, yay! So I can unplug it quickly. I do not have enough voltage on my power supplies to run that though, so I need to work on that. I need to get a bigger power supply. New comments. They do have the same screw terminals in RCA. Oh, okay. No, costly aluminum lights. You have girly hands. I do not have girly hands. I have soft hands. That look, I have paint on there because I painted all the 143 pieces of PVC pipe tonight. I painted with a paint sprayer from Harbor Freight because I'm not painting those by hand, and they are outside drying right now in the 50-degree darkness. They'll be dry by tomorrow. But I do not have girly hands. I just have small hands. I don't have, you know, but they work. Whatever. Make fun of my hands. You're hand shaming me. So, on the aluminum ones, yes, these, you know, because you have me looking, eBay. I just dropped crap on the ground. I was trying to think about what else I could do tonight that was going to be productive for Halloween-wise, because I'm waiting for things to dry and waiting for other processes and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'll make a video. How about that? So let's do aluminum plasma LED. See what that comes up as. There they are. They are $4. They're $3.95. They are 3 watt, by the way. Yeah, I will put a link up to them, but they are LED 3 watt spot or floodlight modules, waterproof. But yeah, I will post it up. So they're $4. This is a steal for one of these to get for $4. That's plug and play basically. So yeah, if you want floods, this to me is the way to go. If I ever flood anything, I just get these. I don't try to mess with putting LEDs together. I don't even use. I mean, you could use these. You could definitely flood with these. They do come in 4s as well, but the most common one is these 3s. But they did. I can't find them very much anymore. But they did come in 4 blocks where it was a square, and those were really cool. Because they had 4 LEDs, so you had more. You had more light. The one thing I do is I normally get blue and the warm white in these, because I do like the look of the blue on the tombstones as well, to simulate more of like a moonlight type of idea. But this year, I think I'm going to put all warm white on my tombstones and see what that looks like. Because I'll have some lighting in some other areas. I'm not too fond of the multicolored lighting, like doing, you know, a red spot here and a green spot over there and a blue spot over there, and kind of, you know, flooding the yard with different colors. To me, that, you know, that's not the effect I'm going for. It looks fantastic for the people that do it, because that's how your haunt was imagined, and it looks amazing. I know Keith Baldwin does a lot with that. Hector Turner does a lot with that. There's several other people that do just amazing things with all those different colored lights, because that's how you designed it to look. I'm going more for just a lit graveyard versus obviously, because no graveyards have lights in them. So we're all breaking the rules there. They may have a light on the street, but most graveyards don't have a light inside the graveyard, and none of them have lights in front of each stone to illuminate them. But we went to a lot of work making these damn tombstones, so we're going to light them up so everybody can read them. That is one thing about these LEDs, is they do allow you to read from far away, even the blue. I noticed that I could actually read the inscriptions a little better with the blue than I could the warm white. Obviously, if you're going to put something next to the tombstone that you do not want lit up, you're going to want to put these closer to the tombstone so that you're just illuminating the tombstone. So, like, let's say you're going to have a projection like a woman standing, and you're gonna do one of those atmosphere projections on the body, you don't want this next to it because it'll wash it out. So you want to either turn it to the side, or you want to get it closer up to the tombstone, and that will stop it from flooding out to the edge there. Touch that to your tongue. No, from painting your nails. $4. That's awesome. Yes, it is. Yes, it is very awesome. So yeah, I think I'm looking around my thing here to see if I have it. One of the other things that I did, some people use these. As you can tell, I had it all wired up for a I actually did use it a little bit. These will actually, you know what? Let's try one. Let's see what this does. Oh, I have to wire that up a little bit differently. Let's see here. Where's my fret prop screwdriver? There it is. Fret prop screwdriver. Yeah. This is my voltage in and my voltage out. So this is my negative. That's my positive. So let's wire this up. You know, they come already screwed down. And that's tough because then you don't realize that. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we got that because that will light up that will power this. And then we're going to just see? And that's what's cool about the fret prop screwdrivers. On the other side is a flathead. And the flathead is on these things. Thank you, Fright Props, for having an awesome little screwdriver at our disposal as haunters. Like I said, not a paid advertisement. But if you do go on the terror tours, these screwdrivers are in the swag bags. So just letting you know. Shameless plug for my terror tours. Ding, ding. All right, so we're going to try this. We're going to see what it does to this. Let's turn it all the way down, off. Okay, so it's off now. Let's see. I believe with LEDs, it's just going to go on. It'll hit a certain voltage, or not at all. I wonder if the white is silver. Okay, yeah, that's negative. Yeah. Okay, well, let's try this. Let's pull these out. Let's take a, you know what, let's take these. Oh, you know what, I wonder. Nah, it would probably be better if I would have plugged it in. Duh. Always plug in your electrical appliances before demonstrating them. All right, now let's try it. It's all plugged in. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, as you can tell, it is going to make them brighter or not. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Where did you get them at? Voltmeter. This is a it's just a dimmer switch, and I will put a link to it online. This would definitely be good for. So let's say my warm white lights are too bright, still too bright for the cemetery, and it's washing it all out. I'm probably going to install this into the line that's going to those, because I'm going to run one line just to the cemetery, just to the tombstone lights. Any of the monuments or anything that I build will get separate lighting, and probably will end up using those floods. So yeah, then you can easily adjust off and on. One thing I don't believe that it does, and we can probably, we'll put it like that so we can. I know this is not the safest way to do it, but you know what? Let's do it right. Yeah, I hate that. Too long. When all else fails, then you just bend it in half. Stick it on in there. All right, so we have all those going. Let's turn off the lights here, and let's see. I still love how that looks. It's super orange in real life. This is not that it looks perfect on here, but in real life this is orange. But it looks really cool inside my hearse. But let's see what this does. Oh, it does even affect those. Nice. But it does kind of affect the flickering of them too, where that's still not as natural. That's still not very natural. But you turn them on normal, and now you get a much softer blink. But as you affect the voltage, you can tell that it's definitely more flickering because the voltage isn't right through it. But you can even do it with these. So I will put a link to that as well. I probably got it off of eBay, of course. Dear Lord, you're still going because you do things the same. How my wife is watching me from the other room. I'm in the garage, she's in the house. No, that just means you're so bored that you have to watch me do stuff online. But you have to admit, it's pretty cool that I can control the voltage by the turning of a knob. Anyways, so yeah, I will put the links up to all this stuff here that I did. And I'm going to make another video because it was more fun doing the live than it was the actual video itself. I'm going to do a much more condensed video of all this stuff, where what each thing does, where I get them, things like that. So I'll be looking for that video as well, but I'll be sharing this live video as well. So cheers. Let's go. Cheers. And thank you all for watching. And if you have any questions for me, I'm always around. You can PM me pretty much until about 12:30 at night. And I'm up at 7 a.m. So you can message me all you want, and I'll try to help you out as much as I can to steer you in the right direction. And I'm always available for help. So good night, everybody. And if people are opening up this weekend for their haunts or next weekend, break a leg. And I wish everybody the best with their haunts. And I should probably start working on mine, huh? Probably stop doing this type of thing and working. So thank you all, and I will talk to you all later. Are you all waiting for him to let? Good thing he was playing. Yeah, it was a good thing he was playing with DC. That's right. See, I'm not. I'm very safe. Not bored, just contemplating my life choices. Your life choice was great. The drugs haven't worn off yet, so you'll be fine still. All right. Good night, everybody, and I will talk to you again.